We're going to talk about conversion tracking, but more importantly, how we're going to grab our pixel and actually set up our conversion tracking on our website. Just to reiterate again how important and how extremely super important conversion tracking is. Without knowing which areas of our account, which keywords, which ad groups, which campaigns, what times of the day, what geographic locations are leading to people taking those very valuable actions on our website, we'll have no real way to assess the effectiveness and the profitability and the overall success of our advertising campaigns. So it's really important that we know exactly what we're doing in our account is driving our business. Conversions is just another word for business. Whether or not we're tracking form submissions or phone calls or views of a key page or app downloads, those are all actions that lead to business. They're all actions that lead to you making money. And you need to know which keywords, which ad groups, campaigns are leading to that action, are leading to you getting more business. So it's really important. The first step that we're going to take is grabbing our conversion pixel by setting up a new conversion action. Before we go ahead and grab our conversion tracking pixel, I want to show you what a real account, one of our client accounts, looks like with conversion tracking set up. So let's go take a look at that account. This is an account of our client, and if you take a look on the right hand side of these columns, these are the different campaigns we have set up over here. And if you go ahead and take a look at all this conversion data we have. In the conversions column, we see the amount of conversions we've had for each of these campaigns. So for example, the image remarketing campaign has 1,162 conversions for a total conversion value of $367,000. This campaign up here has $2.8 million in conversion value. And down at the bottom of all our enabled campaigns, we've generated for them close to $4 million in conversions. So that's really exciting. These guys are e-commerce and they're doing really well. Over here we see, like we said, in this column are their conversions, and in this column you might be wondering what's the difference between converted clicks and conversions, and that is something we're going to talk about in a little bit. Next to conversions, we have our total conversion value for each campaign, and perhaps most importantly, we have this last column, conversion value divided by cost. What is conversion value divided by cost? Could any of you figure that out? Well, it's a very simple mathematical formula, and it's literally your total conversion value divided by the cost of your advertising, and that gives you your ROAS. That gives you your return on ad spend, not your ROI, and it's not your return on investment, because this number isn't taking into account the company's profit margins. It's simply taking into account the cost you spent on advertising and your returns. So 3.13. So what we're seeing here is our cost of advertising this campaign has been $906,000, and they've made $2.8 million in sales. That's 3.13 times the amount that they spent. So their return on investment is roughly 300% for this campaign. If you look down here at this campaign, at the bottom of the list, we spent $21,000 and we made $18,000 in sales, so it's not as good of a campaign, and it's making 0.87% return, which is losing money. It's making a little bit under 100% return on investment, which would be making the money back. But if you look at these campaigns up here, they're all making more than triple the money back for the company. So that's your conversion value divided by cost column. If you were to dive into any specific campaign, and let's say we're going to this campaign and we go into the actual ad groups, we would see the same information broken down by ad group. So we would see the estimated total conversion value divided by cost, which over here is 3.5 and 3.7 respectively. Total conversion value for the different ad groups, converted clicks, and you could customize these columns as we've seen. So you're getting a lot of good information for conversion value. So as you could see, it's so important to have our conversion data being tracked, because now we can go into these campaigns and say, hey, which keywords are generating the most conversions? Which keywords are generating conversions that are not profitable, that are losing us money, and how could we fix them? If we didn't know how much money how many keywords we're converting and what our value for those conversions are, we wouldn't be able to make those optimizations. Furthermore, you might be wondering, how do you track conversion value when it's not e-commerce? E-commerce is easy because we know how much the product the cost of the product was, so it's easier to track. Let's say you're tracking form submissions or phone calls. Well, you could place a value to form submissions and phone calls, but it's more difficult. You have to figure out a few more numbers. You need to know how much a lead or a phone call is going to make to your business on average. So for example, and this is just a rough example, it's something we'll talk about a little bit more, if every client of yours brings in $1,000 to your business, just as an example, and you close 1 out of every 10 leads, okay? So the value to your business of every lead is $100, because only 1 out of 10 of those leads are going to close once you get the actual form submission. That's just pretend those are the numbers of your business. 1 in 10 leads close, and you make $1,000 for every one you close. So that means every conversion in AdWords for every form submission is worth $100. So you want to kind of get that sort of understanding of your numbers on the back end, so you could assign a value to leads and phone calls. But even if you don't assign a value to leads and phone calls, even if you don't know exactly how much a form submission or a phone call or a newsletter sign up is to your business, you still know that they're valuable. You still know that those things drive business. So you still want to know which keywords are converting, which keywords and which ads are leading to people submit those forms and leading to people picking up the phone and calling you. You don't necessarily have to have a monetary value assigned. You could choose to not assign a monetary value, and you'll still know that those are important actions for your website visitors to take. Those are the things that drive business, but you don't necessarily have to have a monetary value assigned. So that's an important thing. Yes, it's better. You'll be more effective, and you'll have better information if you do assign a monetary value, but it's not absolutely imperative. Now, I wanted to show you one more thing before we jump back into our campaign. If we were to click on segment, conversions, conversion name, we would actually see an interesting thing. We would see the campaigns, and if we were on ad groups or keywords, we would see the same thing, broken down by type of conversion or conversion name. So for example, we have calls from ads, which is one conversion type. We have our phone number pinned into our ads, and for this campaign, we have 36 calls from ads. From the signups, newsletter signups, we have 1,629, and purchases, we have 4,220 for a total conversion value of that 2.8 million. Now you see a conversion value assigned over here. So the calls from ads matches up perfectly, 36 and 36. That's because we assigned just to have a default of 1 for every phone call, because we don't really know the value of a phone call to this client. So it's just a default value of 1, which is meaningless. It's just something which is ignored. And the signups we have assigned as an 8, which probably means it's some like point something per conversion, because we had 1,600 conversions. Once again, that's also a meaningless number. This is the number we want to focus on, because this is the number actual money brought in from sales on this website. So that's why it's important to also be able to, if you're tracking multiple conversions, and this is a good example of seeing an account tracking multiple conversions, you always want to use the segment tool when you're analyzing and evaluating your conversion data. So the segment tool and looking at conversions, conversion name or conversion category, that's really important to see exactly what conversions are being counted in this total number. If I want to get rid of my segmentation, just clean things up a little bit, I go back to segment and I click none. And now I'm back to my main view. Okay, so that's what an account which is generating $4 million in conversion data, that's what it looks like. Okay, so that's big stuff. Let's jump back into our campaign and grab our conversion pixel. So we're going to set up 2 different conversion tracking actions, and in this video, let's just set up a form submission, because that's what a lot of you guys are really going to want to be tracking, form submission conversions. So the first step we need to do is get our conversion tracking code. It's going to look similar to our remarketing tag, but it's going to be generated in a different area of the account, and it's going to go on a different place in the website. Okay, it's a little bit trickier. To get our conversion tracking set up, we go over to Tools at the top, and then we click on Conversions. Okay, and that's going to bring us to our main conversions page. This is a page on our site that we're going to be able to track our conversions, view our conversion data, generate new conversions, pause or delete conversions that we're tracking, and things like that. So to get started, we click the big red conversion button to add our first conversion. And Google's going to ask us what type of conversion do we want to create. We have website, which is the main type, which is form submissions, views of key pages, things like that. Apps, downloads of our apps or in-app actions, phone calls, and we could also import offline conversions if you have a brick or mortar store. So for our purposes, we're going to select website. And the first thing that Google's going to ask us to do is simply name our new conversion. So let's pick an easy name. So form submission. Now, if we have multiple forms on our website, we have a sales form and a contact us form, we might want to name this differently and have two different conversions. So let's say I'm going to create a contact us form. Okay, so I'm just going to label this contact us. So this will be only tracking contact us form submissions. Now, why do we want to do this? Why is it important to have a contact us form submission conversion tracking code and a sales or sign up for our newsletter form submission conversion tracking code? Why not just track everything together and we'll still know which keywords, ad groups, campaigns, ads lead to those conversions? Well, the answer is, and you should know this answer by now, is that they probably have different values. A contact us form submission might be a different type of lead that as a sales form submission or a newsletter sign up. It could be that you'll make more money on average by somebody submitting a sales form or a lead form than you'll make from a contact us form submission. And if that's the case, you want to know which keywords are leading to people who are taking the more valuable actions on your site so you can optimize your campaigns around them and you can make sure you're spending the right amount of money on the right types of conversions. Not all conversions are created equal. That's something which is really important to keep in mind and to remember as we build out our campaigns and we become better advertisers. So contact us form submission, this is going to be just for our contact us page. Okay, we'll click done. And now we want to enter a value. How much is each conversion is worth to your business? And this is the area I told you which for a form is not necessary, but it's good if we have it. So we have three options. We could have each time a conversion happens, we assign the same value and we can make it 1 or whatever it is. We could say that the value of this conversion action varies, for instance, instance by instance, and we would have to modify our code a little bit, something we're not going to get into right now, or we could just click don't assign a value. If you are not sure how much a form is worth to your business, then I would recommend just clicking don't assign a value. If you happen to know your number as well, for example, in our case where we know that 1 in 10 contact us forms become a client of yours or a customer of yours, and the average customer over his lifetime brings in $1,000 of profit, then go ahead, by all means, type in 100. That would be your conversion value for a form submission. But for now, we're going to click don't assign a value and click done. Now we want to open up the count column and choose to count all conversions or unique conversions. Now this is going to vary. What you choose here is going to vary based on your business. If you choose all, then if one ad click leads to multiple purchases, you'll get multiple conversions. For example, let's say we're tracking, let's say this is e-commerce and this is a product. If one person clicks an ad and that person buys 3 times, then you're going to track 3 conversions, which would be the right option to choose because those are 3 distinctly valuable purchases. So that's something which is really important. You want to know your conversion data for each purchase. In our case, we're tracking a contact us form submission. Sometimes if somebody lands on the thank you page that has our conversion code and they reload the page or they come back to the page accidentally, we would potentially fire that conversion code again. In which case, if we know that only 1 click should really be leading to 1 contact us form, we would want to click unique. We only want to track unique conversions, which basically means that every click could only have 1 conversion maximum. If we chose all, 1 click could potentially lead to more than 1 conversion, and we could count 3 or 4 or 5 conversions for 1 click. For 1 ad click. It doesn't really happen often, but just to be safe, there's nothing wrong with just choosing unique for our purposes because we're creating a contact us form submission, so that would be the right thing to do. I'll go ahead and click done. And now we assign our famous conversion window. Now, what do you think our conversion window should be for poppin'? Let's say we're choosing a contact us form. This is the type of thing you would ask a client if you're managing this for a client, but if it's your own business, you want to think about how long does it generally take for a person to decide to buy from us. So for example, what the conversion click window means, if somebody clicks on your ad, they come to your page, they see what's going on, and 20 days later, they come back to your site. Now, maybe they come back to your site through a Facebook post, or they come back to your site through a Twitter post, or they come back to your site organically, or they come back to your site because they saved it in a bookmark. And it's within 30 days of their initial ad click, and then they go to the Contact Us page and they fill out that form, we're going to track a conversion. If it's outside of 30 days, we're not going to track a conversion. So you want to think about what is the likelihood that within your window a person decided to come back and convert for a different reason other than clicking your ad. That's the main thing you want to think about. Once again, the conversion window should be as long as it takes for somebody to likely come back to your site because of the ad and not because something else. So if a person becomes aware of your company through the ad, and you feel that after 30 days they come back to your site, it was likely because they saw something on Facebook and not because of your ad, or it was likely that it was due to a Twitter post, or it was likely due to some SEO that you've been doing, then you would want to cap your conversion window at 30 days. And I think 30 days is usually a fair and pretty healthy, safe bet. If you click on this drop-down window or the dialog box here, the fly-down menu, you could make it up to 90 days, you can make it custom, you can make it just 1 week, you could change it around. But in general, you could leave it at 30 days. And here's your view through conversion window. This is something you want to just simply leave at 30 days for now. It's view through conversion, which is specifically for the display network. Okay, this is not from. This is not really that relevant to search ads. So you just really want to simply leave it at 30 days for now. Don't worry about it too much. Your main conversion window is what's going to be centered around ad clicks. So we'll just click done. And over here, we could also have a category. And this category is helpful once you start tracking multiple conversions. You'll be able to segment out your conversions by category like we just saw when we clicked segment. You could choose to click out the conversions by conversion name or by conversion category. So if you're tracking multiple forms and you want to see in the last month how many forms in total I've gotten, that would be a good way to do it. So we'll go over here and we'll pick the one that fits best with us. So for us, it's going to be a lead. A Contact Us page is most likely to be a lead. It's not a purchase sale, it's not a sign up, it's not a view of a key page, it's a lead. And we'll click done. And this optimization, including conversions, optimized columns, you could just leave it as is. It is not a setting that's relevant to us right now. So once we're finished with that, we click save and continue, and Google's going to generate for us our conversion tag. Okay, so up here we have the review of the settings, which we could then go ahead and edit. And we have a dialog to install our tag. Now this might look pretty familiar to you. We could open this up and expand it. This looks pretty similar to what we got for our remarketing tag. But this is going to be our conversion tag, and the main difference is that it has to go only on the page that signifies the conversion, not on any other page, as opposed to the remarketing tag, which we wanted to put on every single page of our website. So I'm going to go ahead first and copy over this entire tag. I have the option to save instructions in tag, or I could email the instructions in tag right here to my web developer, which is a really helpful and useful tool if somebody else is managing your website. Simply enter in their information, click send. But we're going to save instructions in tag. We downloaded it so we could grab it for later use. And I'm going to go ahead and click done. Okay. Once we clicked done, we have our conversion report, where we have our name, the source, which is going to be our website, the category is lead, tracking status is unverified. Once we have one conversion that was registered in our account, this will change to verified, and we'll be able to, Google will know that the tag is working properly. It shows us our conversion windows, it shows us how we're counting them, and then it'll show us the actual data, repeat rate, how many clicks came back for another time, clicked on an ad and converted again, conversions, and the conversion value. Okay, now that we have our tag copied to our clipboard, we want to go ahead and add that tag to our website. Now, once again, I don't have Poppin's backend access. Here we are on Poppin, but I do have access to our website, and I can show you exactly what that looks like. Okay, so let's jump over to our website over here. And for example, let's say we're going to be setting up our Contact Us page conversion tracking. So if I go over to our Contact Us page and we scroll down to the bottom, this is the form right here that we'd like to track conversions on. Okay, so what we want to do is have conversion tracking set up over here. Now, we don't want to have conversion tracking code installed on this page, because this page, if somebody comes to this page, it doesn't signify that they submitted a form or they took the action. Only when they go to the redirect page after they click Let's Get Going or Submit, or however your form is set up, that's what signifies they reached a conversion. Let's just go ahead and fill out a test form. Now this is the page that you want to have that conversion tracking tag installed on. Okay, that's the really important thing. Because if somebody came to this page, this is not a page that's navigable from our main site. If somebody came to this page, that means they submitted a form, and this is the page we want to have a conversion tracking tag installed. If we go back over to our trusty tag manager and we click enable, then we'll have to refresh this page. And we click our tag manager. Here we have our Google Analytics tag, which is the tag that is tracking our conversions. There is multiple ways to track conversions, but what we want to do is add our AdWords conversion tracking code to this page to make sure we're tracking it properly. So let's go into our WordPress dashboard, and if you're using like Weebly and Wix and Squarespace and all the other different types of web builders that we touched upon, that we've mentioned before, the concept is adding a raw HTML block. That's usually what it's going to be. That's usually what it's going to say in most of these web builders, is add a raw HTML block. If you don't know how to do this, or you don't have access to the back end of your site, or you're just too kind of nervous to modify the code, which is okay, then just send it over to your web developer or your webmaster or whoever, or even a friend or colleague who understands HTML and who could kind of help you out and add this to your page. So let's go back over to our WordPress dashboard. I just want to show you what this looks like, okay? So I'll actually navigate to that page from here. I'll click on Edit Page, open it in a new tab, drag it over. And here we have our successful submission page. And I want to go ahead and add that conversion tracking tag. So what I could do is add a raw HTML block down here. And there's all different types of ways you could do this. You could do this via FTP, which is probably the best way to do it, but this way works just as well. And I'm going to go ahead and paste in our Google code for Contact Us form submission page. I'll click Save. I'll update that. And now I'll refresh the page over here. And if I click on the tag, now I have our AdWords conversion tracking tag showing right over here. Okay, we have our conversion ID. We could match that up with the conversion ID in our account, but of course there's no reason to assume that it's not the correct tag. So here we have our AdWords conversion tag and tag on this page, and this is exactly how you want it to look and how you want it to function. Now I'm just going to go ahead and remove that because of course that's not the right thing for me. Click Update. And if I refresh the page now, that conversion tag will be gone, and I'll just have my remarketing tag and my Google Analytics code. Okay, so that's very simple and very straightforward. Once we have data, like I said, you're going to start seeing information here. But what we've done is a very important thing. We created the conversion pixel, and we understand where this conversion is going. We figured out how to count these conversions, and we also figured out how to check and install it on our pages. When we want to go ahead and add new form submission conversions, it's the same exact process. You would click plus conversion, and you go through the same process again. Let's just quickly jump over into our previous account and take a look at what the conversion reporting looks like in this account. As you can see here, they had, we show how we're optimizing, we show our conversion window for each one, and we show our repeat rate. Okay, conversions, we show how many conversions there were, and we show how many sales there were. Let's say I see my report shows me that most people convert outside of 30 days from the original time of clicking on an ad. If that's the case, then I might want to broaden my conversion window. And I could do that just by clicking on this and going up and clicking 90 days and clicking save. Okay, so let's say I want to make a 90-day conversion window. That's exactly how I would do it. Okay, so it's very, very easy. Now, I might want to make my conversion window smaller than 30 days. If I see that I'm running an extensive Facebook campaign and I know that most people will generally buy within 7 days of clicking on my ad, and I don't want to count conversions, I don't want to attribute conversions to AdWords that really came from Facebook or came from other marketing campaigns, then I can go down and make it 1 week. But for now, I'm going to leave it at 90 days. And that's exactly what the more conversions we have, if we have 5, 7, 10 conversions, they would just continue to pile up down on this list, and we'd be able to see all that data that we've been seeing for these 2 conversions in this account. Let's just cancel out of this new conversion. And in the next video, we're going to go ahead and set up a call-only campaign and a call extension that will start tracking our calls from ads. And that's a very important component above form submissions is conversion tracking conversions that are centered around phone calls, because like we said, a lot of businesses do rely heavily on phone calls. The general benchmark is 15%. If more than 15% of your leads come in through phone calls, then it's definitely worthwhile making sure you could track phone calls. If it's under 15% and it's usually through purchases on your site or form submissions or people taking a download or signing up for a newsletter or downloading an ebook or downloading a free trial, then don't worry about the phone call submission and just focus very heavily on the form submission. So I'll see you in a couple seconds. We're going to go into the call-only campaigns, create a really good phone call tracking system, and I will see you in just a little bit. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you learned a lot from it, and we will see you in a couple seconds over in phone call conversions. Cheers for now, guys. Talk to you soon.